Welcome to the Ancient Cryptid Iceberg Explained. We'll be discussing the myths and the mysteries surrounding the creatures from ancient lore, some you may have heard of, and others that are far more obscure. From mythical beasts to forgotten encounters, each cryptid reveals a unique layer of ancient history. Now, before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on what you thought about the video. Tier 1. Living Mammoths. Throughout history, tales of living mammoths have emerged from some of the most remote regions on Earth, particularly in Siberia and Alaska. Despite being extinct for thousands of years, cryptid enthusiasts and explorers have long speculated that small populations of mammoths might have survived in these isolated, unexplored territories. Reports of mammoth sightings date back as far as 1581, when a Cossack leader allegedly encountered a large, hairy creature in the Ural Mountains, an area known for its frozen mammoth carcasses. While this was never confirmed, the possibility of encountering a living fossil fueled further sightings in the centuries that followed. In the late 19th century, stories surfaced claiming that a man named Henry Tuchman had shot a mammoth in Alaska, with rumors that the specimen was sent to the Smithsonian Institution, though the museum denied the existence of such a specimen. More compelling, however, were accounts from Siberian fur trappers and indigenous people, many of whom described seeing large, shaggy beasts with long tusks roaming the dense taiga. Some even claimed these creatures were living deep within the wilderness, possibly in areas too remote for humans to thoroughly explore. These encounters, though never scientifically verified, persisted into the 20th century. One of the more mysterious incidents occurred in 1920, when Russian explorer Georgy Bashkirov reportedly witnessed a giant reddish-brown animal with massive tusks wading into a river in the Yakutia region. The sightings left Bashkirov convinced that living mammoths still wandered Siberia. Other cryptic sightings followed, including a Soviet aircraft crew in 1948 claiming to have seen mammoth-like creatures in the same region. The remoteness of these areas, coupled with the unpredictable weather conditions, contributed to the allure of these sightings, as the creatures were often seen through fog or at a great distance, which may have contributed to misidentifications. Despite the lack of physical evidence, such as footprints or remains, some have speculated that these mammoth sightings might be tied to the discovery of well-preserved mammoth carcasses frozen in the permafrost. With their fur, flesh, and tusks intact, these remains often appear uncannily fresh, which could explain how some may believe these creatures are still alive. Additionally, modern hoaxes, including fake videos from the 1940s and blurry footage from 2012, have added to the mythology surrounding living mammoths, though these have all been debunked as digital fabrications. Physeter. The sperm whale, known scientifically as Physeter macrocephalus, is a creature that has fascinated cryptid enthusiasts due to its enormous size and mysterious behavior. Throughout history, cryptid stories have emerged from ancient mariners and explorers who encountered massive whale-like creatures in the oceans. These sightings were often mistaken for mythical sea monsters. In fact, the sperm whale's massive head, which houses the spermaceti organ, and its ability to dive to great depths, have likely contributed to its association with cryptids. Sailors, unfamiliar with the biology of these whales, would have been baffled by the sudden appearance of such enormous beings, especially as they surfaced from deep waters. The sperm whale's size, up to 67 feet long and weighing as much as 125,000 pounds, could easily lead to mistaken identities. In some cases, sightings of sperm whales might have been interpreted as encounters with the Leviathan, a massive sea creature from mythology. Sperm whales, especially when beached or partially submerged, could also be mistaken for monstrous creatures due to their thick blubber and large tooth-filled jaws. Additionally, ancient texts and folklore often describe sea creatures with the multiple heads or blowholes. These descriptions could stem from misinterpretations of whales' unique physiology, particularly their blowholes, which were sometimes exaggerated into cryptid characteristics. The sperm whale's unique two blowhole structure could have inspired legends of water-spouting beasts that terrorized ships. Fossil records also show that sperm whale ancestors were larger and even more predatory, which only adds to the fascination surrounding their possible role in ancient cryptid encounters. In folklore, the whale's deep diving habits and ability to stay submerged for extended periods likely contributed to a sense of mystery and danger that surrounded them. These massive elusive animals would often only be seen fleetingly, lending credibility to cryptid accounts among those who believed in the existence of sea monsters. Riverest Serpent. The Riverest Serpent, often linked to the famous Loch Ness Monster, has its own distinct folklore surrounding ancient cryptids and serpent-like creatures that inhabit the waters of the Scottish Highlands. Sightings of large, mysterious creatures in and around the River Ness stretched back centuries, with reports suggesting that these serpents were enormous, long-bodied, and moved swiftly through the water. Early records, including writings from St. Columba in the 6th century, describe encounters with the beast that resided in the river, attacking people who ventured too close to its lair. This association with danger and the unknown, combined with the remoteness of the area, likely contributed to the creature's mythical status. Witnesses often describe the creature as having a long, snake-like body with a raised back resembling a serpent undulating across the water's surface. These sightings, combined with the thick fogs and mist commonly found around the river and loch, may have contributed to the mystery and fear surrounding the creature. Some accounts even describe the serpent as having a horse-like head, which mirrors descriptions of other water-based cryptids from European folklore. The River Ness Serpent has often been linked to the idea of a kelpie, a shape-shifting water spirit from Scottish mythology, believed to take on a serpentine or horse-like form to lure people into the water. Cryptid enthusiasts have suggested that the serpent could be a surviving relic from prehistoric times, possibly a plesiosaur or another aquatic dinosaur. However, like most cryptid stories, no physical evidence has ever been found to support these claims. Yet, the frequency of reports from travelers and local alike continues to fuel the legend. Modern interest in the River Ness Serpent has persisted alongside tales of the Loch Ness Monster, with many believing that these creatures share a habitat or are one and the same. Urine. The Urine, also known as the Chinese Wild Man, is a cryptid deeply rooted in Chinese folklore and often described as a large ape-like creature that inhabits the remote mountain ranges and forests of Hubei province. Tales of the Urine date back centuries, with local legends describing encounters with a towering, hairy figure that walks upright, much like a human. Standing over 7 feet tall with reddish-brown fur, the Urine has often been compared to other cryptids like Bigfoot or the Yeti, sparking interest among cryptozoologists worldwide. Locals have historically viewed the Urine with a mix of awe and fear, believing it to be a wild yet intelligent creature that roams the wilderness. Ancient encounters with the Urine are often linked to rural villages, where farmers and travelers claim to have witnessed the creature from a distance or found unusual footprints in the forests. Many of these stories describe the Urine as elusive, disappearing into the dense undergrowth before any concrete evidence could be gathered. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Urine story is the cultural significance it holds in Chinese history, with records dating back to the Zhou dynasty mentioning wild, human-like creatures living in the remote mountains. In more recent times, expeditions and studies have been launched to explore the existence of the Urine, particularly in the 1970s, when multiple sightings were reported by locals. Some witnesses described the creature as peaceful, even non-threatening, though its large size and make it an intimidating presence. Despite numerous alleged sightings and some intriguing pieces of evidence, such as hair samples and unusual tracks, scientific confirmation of the Urine's existence remains elusive. Parpis Beast. The Parpis Beast is a lesser-known cryptid linked to the ancient ruins of Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of Achaemenid Empire in Persia. This creature is described in various accounts as a hybrid, combining features of multiple animals, often resembling a lion with wings or the head of an eagle, reminiscent of mythological creatures such as the griffin. Carvings and reliefs found at Persepolis depict creatures that many believe to have been inspired by real animals, possibly ancient cryptids or symbolic representations of power and protection. Ancient Persian texts and folklore occasionally reference encounters with such creatures, which were said to guard sacred sites or treasures. Some accounts suggest that the Parpis Beast was believed to roam the surrounding desert and mountains, keeping intruders away from the city. The artistic depictions of the creature found in Persepolis reflect the importance of the hybrid creatures in Persian culture, symbolizing divine protection and strength. These stories likely draw from a combination of local wildlife and ancient myths, blending the real and imagined into a creature that has persisted in regional legends. Archaeologists and historians who study Persepolis often emphasize the symbolic nature of these depictions, but cryptid enthusiasts argue that they could hint at the existence of unknown or long extinct animals that inspired the artwork. Xephus. The cryptid known as Zephus is often described as a swordfish-like creature that has been part of ancient maritime lore, particularly in the Mediterranean region. Its name comes from the Greek word for sword, and it was believed to inhabit the deep seas, where it would surface unexpectedly to attack ships. According to ancient accounts, Zephus was a large, swift creature with a long, sharp beak or snout, capable of piercing through the wooden hulls of vessels, leading to shipwrecks and loss of life. Sailors who claimed to have survived encounters with this beast often described it as a mix between a fish and a monstrous predator, with the power to strike swiftly and disappear into the depths just as quickly. The legend of Zephus may have originated from sightings of real swordfish, which are known for their speed and ability to leap out of the water. In antiquity, however, the exaggerated size and aggression attributed to this creature transformed it into something far more dangerous and cryptid-like. Ancient texts often mention encounters with terrifying sea creatures, and Zephus, with its fearsome beak and aggressive behavior, fit into these narratives of the unknown and deadly forces lurking beneath the ocean surface. Some researchers believe that the myth of Zephus could also be tied to encounters with other large marine animals, such as the narwhal, whose long tusk may have been misidentified by ancient sailors. Chiropithecus. Chiropithecus is an extinct genus of primates that lived around 10 million years ago during the Miocene epoch. Fossils of Chiropithecus were first discovered in East Africa, primarily in Ethiopia, and this genus is significant because it is considered to be an early relative of modern great apes, particularly gorillas. The discovery of Chiropithecus fossils sparked interest in paleontological groups as it provided clues about the early evolution of large primates and the potential ancestors of today's great apes. In terms of its appearance, Chiropithecus is believed to have resembled modern apes, with features such as a robust jaw and large teeth adapted for chewing tough vegetation, much like the gorillas of today. Its size and morphology suggest it was a ground-dwelling herbivore that lived in forested regions. Some cryptid enthusiasts have drawn connections between Chiropithecus and certain ape-like cryptids, hypothesizing that ancient sightings of large primates in Africa might have been inspired by distant memories or fragmented oral traditions involving creatures like Chiropithecus. Though these connections are speculative, the idea that ancient cryptids could have been inspired by fossil evidence or surviving populations of now extinct primates adds an intriguing layer to its story. The fossils of Chiropithecus are also important to understanding the migration patterns of early primates. They show that Africa was home to large, complex primates long before the rise of humans, challenging earlier theories that the ancestors of modern apes exclusively evolved in Eurasia. Sphinx. The Sphinx, a prominent figure in ancient mythology, particularly in Egyptian and Greek cultures, is often described as a creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human. Its origin in Egypt is tied to the Great Sphinx of Gther, a massive stone statue that has puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries. The Sphinx was believed to be a guardian figure, symbolizing strength and wisdom, protecting sacred sites such as pyramids and temples. In ancient Egyptian beliefs, it represented the pharaoh's divine power, with its lion body symbolizing might and its human head reflecting intelligence and leadership. The Greek version of the Sphinx, however, took on a more sinister role. It was known for its role in the myth of Oedipus, where it posed a deadly riddle to travelers near Thebes. If they failed to answer correctly, the Sphinx would devour them. The riddle, it asked, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening, was famously answered by Oedipus with man, symbolizing the stages of human life. Some cryptid enthusiasts have suggested that ancient encounters with large cats or strange animals might have inspired the myth of the Sphinx. Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is a cryptid rooted in North American folklore, often described as a massive bird capable of creating thunder and lightning with the flapping of its wings. Many tribes across North America, including the Algonquin, Sioux, and Ojibwe, have passed down stories of the Thunderbird, seeing it as a powerful spirit that controls the elements. It is often depicted as a giant bird with an impressive wingspan, sometimes said to be so large that it could carry a whale in its talons. The creature was considered to be a protector and a bringer of storms, and its presence was both respected and feared. Some ancient encounters with Thunderbird are believed to be linked to sightings of large birds or possibly even pterosaurs, extinct flying reptiles. Stories of the Thunderbird describe it as a bird with such size that it could block out the sun or cause strong winds as it flew. This has led some cryptozoologists to theorize that these legends may have been based on real sightings of massive birds like the extinct Argentavis, a prehistoric bird with a wingspan of over 20 feet. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, several reports from settlers and explorers in North America claimed sightings of enormous bird-like creatures, fueling speculation that thunderbirds might still exist in remote areas. Tier 2. Civothere. Civotherium, commonly known as Civothere, was an extinct genus of giraffids that roamed parts of Africa and the Indian subcontinent during the late Miocene to the Pleistocene. These massive creatures are often described as resembling a cross between a giraffe and a large antelope, with a robust body, short neck, and massive branching horns, or ossicones, on top of their heads. Standing nearly 3 meters tall at the shoulder and weighing up to a ton, the Civothere was among the largest land mammals of its time, and its opposing stature likely contributed to cryptid-like stories in the regions where it once lived. Some paleontologists believe that the ancient humans might have encountered surviving populations of Civotheres, particularly in Africa, where local legends of giant, antelope-like creatures persisted long after their extinction. The idea that Civotheres might have been the basis for certain African cryptid stories, such as the Mokel and Mbembe, or other forest giants, is an intriguing one, given their unique appearance and large size. The horns of Civotheres, in particular, could have been a striking feature for early humans, who might have interpreted them as otherworldly or fearsome creatures. Fossil evidence of Civotheres has been discovered in regions spanning from East Africa to India, and their skeletal structure suggests they were browsers, feeding on leaves and shrubs in open woodland environments. Set animal. The Set animal, also known as the Shah, is one of the most enigmatic creatures from ancient Egyptian mythology. It is associated with the god Set, the deity of chaos, storms, and the desert. The creature's appearance is bizarre and distinctive, often depicted as a combination of various animals, which has led many to speculate about its cryptid-like origins. The Set animal is usually portrayed with a canine-like body, a forked tail, and a long curved snout with large squared ears, unlike any known species. Some theories suggest that the Set animal may have been inspired by real animals that were either extinct or unknown to the ancient Egyptians. For instance, it could be linked to an extinct species of wild dog or another large animal such as the aardvark or Okapi, whose unusual features might have been contributed to the mythical creature's design. The animal association with Set, who embodied disorder and disruption, further enhanced its cryptid-like qualities, as it became a symbol of the unknown and the dangerous forces of nature. Interestingly, despite its unusual appearance, the Set animal was consistently depicted in Egyptian art and hieroglyphs, suggesting that it had significant symbolic meaning. Some scholars have even proposed that the Set animal may represent a creature unique to the Egyptian imagination, a symbol of Set's chaotic and unpredicted nature. However, no physical evidence has ever emerged to confirm the existence of any real animal matching the Set animal's description, leaving its origin and inspiration shrouded in mystery. Egyptian bear. The Egyptian bear is a cryptid that has been tied to ancient accounts and obscure references in Egyptian history. Although Egypt is not typically associated with large bears due to its arid climate, there are scattered references in ancient texts and carvings that suggest the possible existence of such a creature. Some ancient writings describe a large bear-like animal that lived near the Nile or in the desert regions, with thick fur and a powerful build, traits unusual for the region's wildlife. These accounts have led to speculation that ancient Egyptians might have encountered or heard of large bears from neighboring regions or during expeditions to more temperate climates, such as those in the Middle East or the Mediterranean. Theories about the Egyptian bear's origins vary. Some cryptozoologists propose that these creatures could have been misidentified animals, such as large hyenas or other carnivorous mammals whose features resembled bears. Others suggest that the ancient Egyptians may have depicted or exaggerated foreign animals they encountered through trade or travel. It is also possible that extinct species, perhaps from earlier epochs, persisted in Egypt's remote areas, giving rise to stories of bear-like creatures. Sea. The sea is a cryptid from ancient Chinese folklore, often depicted as a dragon-like or serpent-like creature with aquatic tendencies. According to legend, the sea was a large, scaled beast that lived near rivers or lakes, where it was both feared and revered by locals. It was sometimes described as having the ability to manipulate water, either creating floods or claiming rivers depending on its mood. These characteristics align with other water-related creatures in Chinese mythology, such as dragons, which were believed to have control over rainfall and water bodies. The sea's serpentine appearance, with a long, sinewy body and sharp features, made it a creature to be both respected and avoided by ancient people. Many cryptid enthusiasts suggest that the sea could be an early representation of crocodiles or large fish species that once inhabited China's river systems. Others propose that it could be a mythological exaggeration of real aquatic creatures like sturgeons, which are known for their large size and armored bodies. In ancient Chinese art and carvings, the sai appears alongside other mythical beasts, contributing to its role as a symbol of power and nature's unpredictability. Some believe that the stories of the sai may have been used to explain natural disasters, particularly flooding, which could have been seen as a consequence of angering the creature. Scolopendra. Scolopendra, commonly known as giant centipedes, have long inspired fear and fascination due to their formidable size and predatory behavior. In ancient texts and cryptid lore, Scolopendra was often described as a colossal, multi-legged creature, much larger than any known centipede today. These ancient accounts depicted Scolopendra as a dangerous, venomous predator, capable of attacking and even killing animals much larger than itself. Some legends suggested that Scolopendra could reach lengths of several feet with sharp, venomous pincers capable of delivering deadly bites to both animals and humans. The cryptid reputation of Scolopendra likely stems from encounters with actual giant centipede species, such as Scolopendra gigantea, which can grow up to 12 inches in length and are native to South America and the Caribbean. These centipedes are known for their aggressive hunting tactics, preying on insects, small mammals, and even birds. In ancient times, the exaggerated size and fearsome nature of these creatures could have contributed to myths that depicted Scolopendra as a monstrous, near-mythical cryptid that haunted dark forests and caves. Ancient seafaring cultures also contributed to the Scolopendra myth, with sailors reporting sightings of massive, many-legged sea creatures capable of wrapping around ships. These descriptions bear a resemblance to other sea cryptids, such as the kraken, but with distinct centipede-like features. Tier 3. Mo. The Mo is a cryptid reported from northern Burma in China's Yunnan province. It was described in the ancient Chinese text, Treatise on the Nanman, Southwestern Barbarians, which is part of the Book of the Later Han. According to these writings, the Mo resembled a bear but was about the size of a donkey, with pale-colored fur. The creature was known for its strength, capable of knocking things down by lifting itself up with its forelimbs. Despite its power, the Mo was also hunted for its fur. David C. Zhu, a researcher in the field, suggests that the Mo might have been a Gther, an ancient type of ungulate that lived between 46 and 1 million years ago. Gthers were large herbivorous animals that likely had features resembling both a bear and a horse. They were known to use their strong forelimbs to pull down branches to feed on, which aligns with the Mo's described strength and physical capabilities. The most recent species of Gther, called Nestoritherium, existed around 2 to 0.7 million years ago, and is known from fossils found in Pleistocene deposits in Burma. Zhu also proposes an alternative possibility that the Mo could have been a descendant of the Eumorpidae family, which were related to Gthers but were similar in size. These creatures lived between 55 and 43 million years ago. Fossils of the Eumorpidae species have been discovered in both Yunnan and northern Burma, making this connection a possibility for the origin of the Mo cryptid. Long. The Long, also known as the Chinese dragon, Asian dragon, or East Asian dragon, is a creature deeply rooted in Chinese folklore. It is often thought of as a mythical being, but some sources refer to it as a rare cryptid. While traditionally regarded as a symbol in mythology, there have numerous recorded sightings, including some from recent times. These reports vary in their descriptions of the long, but many depict it as a marine creature, similar to sea serpents. However, there are also accounts of it as a supernatural entity, soaring through the sky without wings, which mirrors its traditional representation in Chinese culture. The long is not typically depicted with the physical characteristics of a winged creature, unlike Western dragons. Instead, its ability to fly is seen as a mystical or supernatural power. This idea links closely with how the long has been portrayed in Chinese mythology, where it was often seen as a creature connected to the heavens, controlling rain and storms, and influencing both the seas and the skies. Its serpentine body and association with water gives it a unique place in Chinese stories, where it was seen as both a symbol of power and a mysterious force of nature. Bennu Bird. The Bennu Bird is a creature from ancient Egyptian mythology, closely associated with creation, rebirth, and the sun. Often depicted as a heron-like bird with majestic plumage, the Bennu was believed to be a manifestation of the god Ra, representing life cycles and resurrection. According to myth, the Bennu was self-created, emerging from the waters of chaos at the beginning of time, much like the sun rises each day. Its ties to creation myths are evident in its role as a symbol of regeneration, making it a spiritual ancestor to the more widely known phoenix in Greek mythology. The ancient Egyptians believed that the Bennu bird had the ability to control the flow of the Nile, an essential force of life and fertility for their civilization. Some cryptid enthusiasts speculate that the Bennu bird could have been inspired by sightings of large migratory birds such as the gray heron, which was commonly found along the Nile. The size and appearance of these birds, with their long legs and powerful wings, might have been exaggerated over time to fit the mystical qualities attributed to the Bennu. The Bennu's connection to death and resurrection also tied it to Egyptian funerary practices, where it was invoked to guide the deceased through their journey in the afterlife. Its presence in both religious texts and art shows how deep it was ingrained in Egyptian culture as a symbol of renewal and immortality, making it one of the most revered mythological creatures in their pantheon. Fifi. Fifi is a cryptid steeped in Chinese folklore, often described as a large, mysterious predator that prowls the dense forests and mountainous regions of China. This elusive creature is typically linked to a tiger, but its exact appearance varies among the different regions where the stories are told. Fifi is often portrayed with thick, shaggy fur, sometimes described as having unusual colors, along with powerful claws and a muscular build, giving it an intimidating presence. Its behavior is said to be aggressive and stealthy, often stalking its prey with precision before vanishing into the wilderness as quickly as it appears. The origins of the Fifi legend may be connected to ancient encounters with rare or now extinct species. Some believe that the Fifi could have been based on sightings of tigers, leopards, or bears that once roamed these regions, but were rarely seen due to their elusive nature. These animals could have inspired the myth of a beast that was both feared and respected by local populations. The Fifi's habitat in deep forests and remote mountain areas that are difficult to explore even today adds to its cryptid status, as it represented the untamed and unknown forces of nature that people throughout history have tried to understand. In ancient Chinese culture, the Fifi was not merely a physical threat, but also carried a symbolic significance. It was often associated with the wild and uncontrollable forces of the natural world, which could either protect or destroy, depending on how humans interacted with it. Stories of the Fifi often emphasize the danger of venturing too far into the creature's domain, warning travelers and hunters that they might never return. The creature's sudden and silent attacks are recurring themes in these tales, contributing to the aura of fear surrounding it. American horses. American horses, specifically the prehistoric species that once roamed North America, are an intriguing subject in both paleontology and cryptid lore. Fossil evidence shows that horses evolved in North America around 50 million years ago, before migrating to other parts of the world. Species such as Echis lambai, a smaller, stockier version of today's modern horse, thrived across North America until they mysteriously disappeared about 10,000 years ago during the Quaternary extinction event. Despite their extinction, stories and sightings of wild horses in North America persisted in indigenous legends and cryptid accounts. In ancient Native American lore, there are tales of mysterious horse-like creatures that were said to roam the plains long after horses were believed to be extinct in the region. Some of these stories might be linked to early memories of or encounters with these ancient horses, which may have lived in isolated pockets longer than previously thought. Cryptozoologists have speculated that small populations of these ancient horses could have survived into more recent times, giving rise to reports of wild horses in regions where no domesticated horses were present. The arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century reintroduced horses to the Americas, leading some to believe that earlier sightings of wild horses may have been misidentified or symbolic. However, the consistent presence of horse-like beings in indigenous myths has intrigued researchers, leaving open the question of whether relict populations of ancient American horses might have survived long after their supposed extinction. Tier 4. Sucha Mama. Sucha Mama, which translates to Mother of the Jungle in Quechua, is a cryptid deeply rooted in the mythology of the indigenous peoples of the Amazon rainforest. This massive serpent-like creature is described as an ancient, almost primordial being that inhabits the dense jungles of South America, particularly in Peru and Ecuador. According to local legends, Sucha Mama is a giant anaconda or serpent said to grow as long as 40 meters, so large that it becomes indistinguishable from the nature environment. Over time, it supposedly lies so still that plants, trees, and vines grow over its body, camouflaging it completely and making it one with the forest. The stories of Sucha Mama are often connected to warnings about respecting nature and its powerful forces. Indigenous communities believe that it possesses supernatural abilities, including the power to hypnotize or paralyze those who wander too close to it. Some tales describe how those who encounter Sucha Mama may be drawn into a trance, where they lose their sense of direction, becoming disoriented in the vast jungle, until it's too late to escape. This predatory nature adds an element of danger to its mythical reputation. From a cryptid perspective, some researchers speculate that the legends of Sucha Mama might have been inspired by sightings of exceptionally large anacondas, or other massive reptiles native to the Amazon. The green anaconda, one of the largest snakes in the world, can grow up to 30 feet, and it's not hard to imagine how these already formidable creatures could give rise to tales of an even larger, more mysterious serpent. In the context of shamanic beliefs, Sucha Mama also serves as a spiritual guardian of the forest, representing both the life-giving and destructive forces of nature. The creature is said to protect the jungle from those who seek to exploit its resources, serving as a reminder of the delicate balance between human life and the natural world. Middle Pasture Okapi. The Middle Pasture Okapi is a cryptid said to be a variation or a lost relative of the known Okapi, a rare and elusive giraffid species found in the rainforest of the Democratic Republic of Congo. While the modern Okapi was officially discovered by Western science in the early 20th century, there have been reports of another Okapi-like creature, the Middle Pasture Okapi, inhabiting remote, unexplored areas of the Central Africa. Descriptions of this cryptid suggest it has the same striped hindquarters as the modern Okapi, but differs in having more pronounced leg features, particularly in the pastern, which is the part of the leg between the fetlock and the hoof. Some encounters describe this creature as larger and more robust than the regular Okapi, with enhanced adaptations for traversing dense jungle terrain. The legend of the Middle Pasture Okapi may have originated from early accounts of unknown creatures seen by indigenous peoples, explorers, and hunters in Africa's deep rainforests. The Okapi itself was once considered a cryptid before its formal discovery, so it's possible that variations like the Middle Pasture Okapi could still exist, eluding scientific verification. The dense and inaccessible jungles of Central Africa have long been home to cryptid stories, fueled by the difficulty of conducting extensive research in these regions. Some cryptozoologists suggest that the Middle Pasture Okapi could represent a relic population of an earlier Okapi subspecies, or even a completely new species that has remained undiscovered due to its isolation. Wasco. Wasco is a cryptid from the mythology of the Haida people, indigenous to the Pacific Northwest coast of North America. Described as a massive sea creature, Wasco is often depicted as a half-wolf, half-killer whale being, reflecting both the land and sea elements. This dual nature makes Wasco unique among cryptids, as it is said to have the power to hunt both on land and in the water. The creature's formidable size and strength are formidable, with stories claiming that it could overturn boats and drag fishermen into the depths of the ocean. Wasco is sometimes seen as a protector figure, but in other tales, it embodies the destructive and unpredictable power of nature. Haida art often features Wasco in totem poles and carvings, where its wolf-like head and whale body are depicted, with intricate designs symbolizing the close relationship between people and the environment. Wasco is believed to dwell in deep waters and secluded coastal areas, appearing only during times of great need or conflict. Encounters with Wasco are rare in the mythology, but when they occur, they are significant, often signaling major events or changes. Some cryptozoologists theorize that Wasco could have been inspired by actual marine animals that were unfamiliar or misunderstood by early coastal people. Large sea predators, such as orcas, could easily have mythologized into something larger and more fearsome, especially if early encounters with these animals were violent or resulted in shipwrecks. Punic War Serpent. The Punic War Serpent is a cryptid tied to an extraordinary account during the First Punic War between the Romans and Carthaginians, specifically in North Africa. According to historical records, a massive serpent terrorized Roman soldiers near the Bargadus River, which is Medjurda River in Tunisia in modern day. The Roman army, under the command of General Regulus in 256 BCE, was said to have encountered this gigantic serpent while on campaign. The serpent was described as being over 100 feet long, with scales so tough that arrows and spears could not penetrate its skin. This colossal creature reportedly attacked and killed several soldiers before being slain by the Roman forces, using catapults and ballista. After it was killed, its body was examined and the hide was supposedly sent back to Rome as proof of the extraordinary encounter. The story of the Punic War Serpent has fascinated historians and cryptid enthusiasts alike, with some viewing it as a possible encounter with the now extinct species of giant snake, or perhaps an exaggerated account of a large python or anaconda. The idea of a massive serpent living in the arid regions of North Africa is certainly far-fetched, but given the vast size of certain snake species today, such as the reticulated python or green anaconda, it is not entirely impossible that ancient reports exaggerated the creature's dimensions. This encounter is often viewed as one of the more concrete cryptid tales from antiquity, as it was documented by ancient historians like Livy and Valerius Maximus. Indus Unicorn. The Indus Unicorn is a cryptid tied to ancient depictions found in the seals and artwork of the Indus Valley civilization, which flourished around 3300 to 1300 BCE in what is now Pakistan and northwest India. The Indus Unicorn is a cryptid tied to ancient depictions found in the seals and artwork of the Indus Valley civilization, which flourished around 3300 to 1300 BCE in what is now Pakistan and northwest India. On numerous seals discovered in the ruins of cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, a mysterious one-horned animal, often referred to as the Indus Unicorn, is prominently depicted. Unlike the more western unicorn, the Indus version appears more like a stylized bull or antelope, featuring a single prominent horn curving from its forehead with a large, muscular body. The exact identity of the Indus Unicorn remains a mystery, with some scholars suggesting it might represent a mythical or symbolic creature, while others believe it could be a highly stylized depiction of real animals, such as a rhinoceros or bulls. The fact that these seals are commonly found in administrative and trade contexts hints that the creature might have had cultural, religious, or economic significance to the people of the Indus Valley. Some interpretations suggest the creature could have symbolized power or fertility, while others think it might have served as a mark for a particular clan or group involved in trade. Cryptozoologists and historians continue to debate whether the Indus Unicorn might have been inspired by a now extinct species, such as an ancient bovine or rhinoceros that once roamed the plains of the Indus Valley. Tier 5. Living Gomphothere. The living Gomphothere is a cryptid linked to reports of ancient elephant-like creatures thought to have survived long after their extinction. Gomphotheres were prehistoric relatives of modern elephants, characterized by 4 tusks, 2 on the upper jaw and 2 on the lower. These animals roamed parts of North and South America, as well as Africa and Eurasia. During the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, with most species believed to have gone extinct around 11,000 years ago. However, cryptid accounts from various parts of South America, especially in regions like the Amazon rainforest, have sparked theories that small populations of Gomphotheres may have survived into more recent times, possibly even into the modern era. Reports of large elephant-like creatures in South America, particularly in the Amazon basin, have been passed down through indigenous folklore. Some explorers in the 19th and early 20th century claim to have heard stories from local tribes about massive animals resembling elephants or mastodons, still living deep in the jungle, feeding on vegetation and leaving enormous footprints. These tales have fueled speculation among cryptozoologists that there could be undiscovered, relict populations of Gther in these remote regions where the dense jungle could hide large animals from modern observation. While no direct evidence such as fossils or remains has been found to confirm these claims, the idea of Gther persists due to the extensive explored areas of South America. Some researchers suggest that these reports may have been based on misidentifications of known animals, such as tapirs or large capybaras, which could appear elephant-like in certain conditions. Dwarf Mediterranean Elephant. The dwarf Mediterranean elephant is a now extinct species of elephant that lived on various Mediterranean islands, such as Sicily, Malta, and Cyprus, during the late Pleistocene and early Holocene epochs. These elephants, which evolved from much larger mainland species, underwent a process known as insular dwarfism. This evolutionary phenomenon occurs when large animals living on islands with limited resources become smaller over time to adapt to their environment. In the case of the dwarf Mediterranean elephant, they likely evolved from the massive straight-tusked elephants, shrinking in size due to the ecological pressures of island life. Standing at just about 1 to 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder, the dwarf Mediterranean elephant was significantly smaller than its mainland relatives. Fossil evidence indicates that these elephants exhibited many of the same features as their larger ancestors, such as tusks and a trunk, but in a more compact form. The discovery of their bones in caves across Mediterranean islands led to speculation that these tiny elephants may have inspired local myths, including those of the Cyclops in Greek mythology. The large central nasal cavity of the elephant skull, where the trunk would have been, may have been mistaken for a single eye socket by ancient peoples, contributing to the creation of the one-eyed giants in Greek lore. Cryptozoologists have also pointed out that there are occasional historical accounts and legends suggesting the existence of strange, elephant-like creatures on these islands long after the species was thought to have gone extinct. Giant Hyrax. The giant Hyrax is a cryptid tied to ancient and prehistoric accounts of large herbivorous mammals that once roamed parts of Africa and the Middle East. While modern Hyraxes are small, rodent-like creatures that weigh only a few kilograms, fossil evidence suggests that their ancient relatives, such as Gigantohyrax, Dendrohyrax, were significantly larger. These giant Hyraxes lived during the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, and some species are believed to have reached sizes compared to modern-day cows. The giant Hyrax is thought to have inhabited open plains and woodlands, where it grazed on vegetation much like modern-day ungulates. Its physical appearance would have been similar to that of modern Hyraxes, but scaled up dramatically in size, with stocky bodies, short limbs, and blunt, herbivorous teeth. Some fossil specimens indicate that these creatures might have lived in social groups, much like modern Hyraxes, and used their considerable size and thick skin to defend themselves from predators. In cryptid lore, the giant Hyrax is sometimes speculated to have survived into more recent times, with indigenous legends from parts of Africa describing large mammal-like creatures that could have been inspired by sightings of these now extinct animals. Some explorers in the 19th and early 20th centuries reported hearing tales of massive rock-dwelling creatures that could be linked to the giant Hyrax. No modern evidence has been found to support the existence of living specimens. Ethiopian Deer. The Ethiopian deer, a cryptid from the highlands of Ethiopia, has long been a subject of curiosity in local folklore and ancient encounters. While Ethiopia is not known for its deer populations, reports of a mysterious deer-like creature have persisted for centuries. Described as a slender, elegant animal with large antlers and a reddish-brown coat, this cryptid is believed to inhabit remote mountainous regions that are difficult to access. Unlike the more familiar antelope species found in Africa, the Ethiopian deer is said to closely resemble the deer found in European and Asian forests, sparking intrigue among explorers and researchers. Some historians speculate that these reports may have been inspired by misidentifications of known species such as the mountain nyala or bushbuck, both of which are native to the Ethiopian highlands and possess some deer-like characteristics. However, the recurring descriptions of large antlers, a feature uncommon in these antelope species, keep the cryptid status of the Ethiopian deer alive. Indigenous tales also speak of the creature's elusive nature, with the Ethiopian deer rarely being seen by humans adding to the mystery surrounding its existence. Shanzhongzai. Shanzhongzai is a cryptid from ancient Chinese folklore, said to dwell in the remote mountainous regions of China. It is often described as a bear-like creature with distinctive features that set it apart from typical wildlife. The Shanzhongzai is believed to have a shaggy coat of fur, powerful limbs, and sharp claws, making it an imposing figure in the wild. However, unlike ordinary bears, this creature is said to have heightened intelligence and agility, making it both feared and respected by those who encounter it. Ancient records and local legends tell of the Shanzhongzai's elusive nature, with sightings being rare and brief, often occurring in dense forests or rugged mountain terrains. Hunters and travelers who ventured too far into its domain were said to be at risk of attack, as the creature was highly territorial. In some stories, the Shanzhongzai was believed to possess supernatural abilities, including the power to blend into its surroundings, making it nearly invisible to the naked eye. This feature only added to the mystique of the cryptid, as many claimed that it could disappear without a trace when threatened. Some cryptozoologists theorize that the Shanzhongzai could have been based on early encounters with large, unknown species of bears or other predators native to the region, such as the giant panda before it was widely known. Others suggest that it could be a mythological creature born from the fears and superstitions of ancient communities living in isolation. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content.